Brilliant strategist Jerome Harris was humiliated and fired, his ideas dismissed, and his potential overlooked. But what followed? His rise to success and his former boss's stunning downfall would shake the industry to its core. What Jerome did next will shock you. Let's start at the beginning. Jerome Harris, a brilliant marketing strategist with a reputation for innovative thinking, was ecstatic when he landed a position at Benson Global Strategies, a top-tier firm in the heart of the city. Armed with an impressive resume and years of experience driving successful campaigns, Jerome saw this opportunity as the pinnacle of his career, a chance to shape global narratives and work alongside industry leaders. However, it didn't take long for his excitement to dim. From his first day, Jerome felt the sting of subtle microaggressions. Colleagues often interrupted him during meetings, their eyes glazing over as he spoke. The phrase "diversity hire" echoed in whispered conversations he wasn't meant to hear. Despite the firm's public commitments to inclusivity, the workplace culture was steeped in bias, a reflection of the man at its helm, CEO Mark Benson. Mark was known for his curt, dismissive demeanor, but his interactions with Jerome were particularly cutting. Though Jerome consistently delivered well-researched and innovative ideas, Mark dismissed them outright, often attributing them to other team members or mocking their feasibility. Jerome's exclusion from critical meetings became a pattern, with Mark justifying it as streamlining the decision-making process. It was clear Mark viewed Jerome not as an asset, but as a token hire to appease external pressures. The breaking point came during a pivotal team meeting to discuss a major client's declining market presence. Jerome proposed a bold, data-driven strategy that could potentially revolutionize the client's outreach. Instead of engaging with the merits of the idea, Mark publicly ridiculed Jerome, calling his proposal idealistic and detached from reality. The room fell silent as Jerome, humiliated but resolute, defended his perspective. Mark, unwilling to be challenged, accused Jerome of insubordination. Within minutes, Jerome was terminated, with Mark citing cultural misalignment in a thinly veiled attempt to mask his prejudices. As Jerome walked out of the office, the weight of the moment threatened to crush him, but his determination burned brighter. He vowed to prove not only his worth, but also the value of ideas that challenge outdated systems. The world hadn't seen the last of Jerome Harris. Jerome Harris found himself at a crossroads after his sudden dismissal. The sting of humiliation lingered, and the weight of uncertainty loomed over him. For weeks, he wrestled with self-doubt, questioning his worth and his place in an industry that seemed stacked against him. However, amidst the turmoil, the unwavering support of his community and family became his anchor. His mother's words rang in his mind like a mantra. "They might close a door, but that's because you're meant to build your own." Those words reignited the spark of determination that had driven him throughout his career. A close friend, Malik, a small business owner who had witnessed Jerome's brilliance firsthand, encouraged him to take a leap of faith. With Malik's help, Jerome secured a modest loan to start a consultancy. He named it Visionary Strategies, a nod to his belief in forward-thinking solutions and the power of creativity. Operating out of a tiny office with second-hand furniture, Jerome began reaching out to local businesses, pitching the same innovative ideas that had been dismissed at his previous job. His approach was fresh and personal. Instead of one-size-fits-all strategies, Jerome tailored campaigns to each client's unique needs, blending cutting-edge analytics with a deep understanding of market trends. His first clients, a bakery, a local gym, and a boutique clothing store, saw immediate results, with revenues surging and customer engagement skyrocketing. Word spread quickly, and Jerome's client list grew exponentially. As visionary strategies gained momentum, its reputation caught the attention of larger players in the industry. Companies previously dominated by firms like Benson Global began turning to Jerome for fresh perspectives. Media outlets picked up on his meteoric rise, dubbing him the comeback king in profiles that highlighted his resilience and creative genius. Interviews and features framed Jerome as the embodiment of persistence and innovation, a man who turned rejection into opportunity. By the time Visionary Strategies expanded into a sleek downtown office, it wasn't just a consultancy. It was a symbol of defiance against systemic bias and proof that talent, when nurtured, could transform entire industries. For Jerome, this was just the beginning. Mark Benson's once thriving firm, Benson Global Strategies, began unraveling at an alarming pace. For years, Mark had built his company on a foundation of rigid hierarchies and outdated marketing strategies, stubbornly dismissing the need for innovation in a rapidly evolving industry. His refusal to adapt became a glaring liability, and the cracks that had long been ignored started to widen. The fallout began with the loss of several key accounts. Longtime clients, frustrated with the lackluster results of Mark's campaigns, turned to younger, more dynamic firms, offering fresh perspectives. Among them was a major client who, to Mark's dismay, implemented the very strategy Jerome had once proposed, and thrived. The client's market share soared, and their partnership with a rival firm became a case study in industry journals, with veiled references to Benson Global's missed opportunity. Internally, the firm was in chaos. Whispers of a toxic workplace began to surface, with employees leaving in droves. Exit interviews cited Mark's dismissive management style and a culture that stifled creativity. Former employees shared their experiences on professional networks, painting a damning picture of a company out of touch with both its workforce and the market. To make matters worse, the media shifted its spotlight to Jerome Harris's meteoric rise. Headlines juxtaposed his success with the decline of Benson Global, the visionary outsider taking over where corporate stagnation failed, and, from dismissed to dominant, how Jerome Harris outshone his former boss. Investors began pulling out, shaken by the narrative of a firm in freefall and a leader incapable of steering the ship. Mark's humiliation deepened as he faced mounting pressure from shareholders. In a desperate attempt to stem the bleeding, he implemented sweeping layoffs, reducing the once grand office to a shadow of its former self. Despite these measures, Benson Global's reputation was irreparably damaged. For Mark, the downfall was a bitter pill. The same arrogance that had dismissed Jerome now left him grappling with the consequences of his hubris. The firm he once ruled with an iron grip was slipping through his fingers, and the industry he thought he controlled now belonged to visionaries like Jerome. The grand ballroom of a prestigious industry conference buzzed with energy as executives, entrepreneurs, and journalists mingled beneath the dazzling chandeliers. Among the attendees was Jerome Harris, now the keynote speaker for the event. His remarkable journey from a dismissed employee to a celebrated innovator had become the talk of the industry. As Jerome prepared to take the stage, Mark Benson, his former boss, lingered at the edge of the crowd. Mark, desperate to salvage his crumbling reputation, approached Jerome with forced enthusiasm. "Jerome, it's good to see you," he said, his tone laced with insincerity. Jerome turned, his expression calm but unreadable. "Mark," he replied with measured politeness. Mark leaned in, lowering his voice. "I've been following your success. Truly impressive. Perhaps we could put the past behind us. Benson Global could use a fresh perspective. A partnership, maybe? Jerome's eyes flickered with something unreadable. Pity, perhaps. But he kept his composure. "Thank you, Mark," he said, his voice steady. "But I believe I'm exactly where I need to be." Minutes later, Jerome took the stage to thunderous applause. His speech was powerful, weaving his personal story with a broader commentary on resilience, systemic racism, and the transformative power of recognizing diverse talent. "Adversity," Jerome said, his voice resonating across the hall, "is not an end. It's a beginning, a chance to build what the world refuses to give." In the audience, Mark sat stiffly, his face a mask of suppressed anger and humiliation. Jerome's words struck chords that Mark had long refused to hear. When Jerome closed with, "Sometimes losses are blessings in disguise," the room erupted in applause, while Mark slipped quietly toward the exit, knowing the statement was meant for him. In the months that followed, Benson Global declared bankruptcy, its remnants scattered in a final bid to settle debts. Meanwhile, Jerome expanded his impact, launching a mentorship program to uplift underrepresented talent. The program provided scholarships, training, and opportunities for those often overlooked by traditional systems. As Jerome prepared for his next venture, a global initiative focused on inclusive innovation, he reflected on his journey. From rejection to triumph, every challenge had shaped him. In adversity, Jerome had found his strength, transforming his pain into a legacy of opportunity and change.